brothers and sisters. So just maybe to continue a little bit on the conversation from yesterday about these counterfeit remedies. We spoke about the many pseudo ways for finding peace that quite frankly, they don't lead to the source of all peace, who as Christians we proclaim is Jesus Christ, is God incarnate. Jesus says, I am the way, the truth, and the life. And the kind of peace that he wants to offer is more than just the tranquility of heart. It's the fullness of hope and love and faith in him, which brings about a complete stability and steadiness in him. His peace we have to guard, because the world and the devil wants to rob us of this peace and wants to take away this inner deep communion with him. You know, Christian peace is not exclusive from conflict and suffering and even some forms of worry. You can be deeply at peace and be going through a lot of trial. But one, I suppose, is not despairing, one is not caving in, one is still going forward and can even have joy in the midst of all these things. And so it is the Lord himself, but what ultimately is the meeting of the Lord, knowing his incredible love. When you think about it, when are we most at peace? Is when we are deeply loved and therefore our heart seems full and fulfilled. And you know, peace really means like nothing is missing. It means a fulfillment. And so we have to guard this peace. We have to guard this. And this is what I was saying, is that sometimes as Catholics we haven't been catechized, we don't know our faith, we don't know the means enough to reap from the sacraments, to draw and drink from the source of grace for our life. Or we don't know how to pray, we don't know what is mental prayer, we don't know, you know, what it means, and what it means to be in contemplation, you know, how to persevere in that. And you could always refer to a series that I did a while back on contemplation and mental prayer in the Dominican House of Prayer YouTube channel. There's a whole long series there of talks I did giving this navigation of that terrain of the spiritual life from prayer, based on Father Jacques Philippe's book Time for God. And so, but coming back to this whole idea of counterfeit peace, you know, I mentioned briefly yoga yesterday, and I mentioned, you know, other Eastern spiritualities or the New Age spiritualities. You know, they're sort of like a temporary, people can have a temporary fix to their peace. But often my experience, because in my own experience of going into a lot of these things before coming to know Jesus Christ, it would lead to a temporary peace, but that peace would lead to a bigger vacuum, and it would lead to anxiety. And when I couldn't have that peace, it would lead me to more anxiety. So it meant that I was in a cyclical thing, looking for those things again and again. And the thing is that, you know, only in love, only knowing the infinite love of God through Jesus Christ, through the face of Jesus Christ in his life and the power of the Holy Spirit, can that hole in our heart, can that journey in our life be fulfilled, and find great fulfillment in knowing the Lord. And so as we see these days, it's, you know, there's certain rules of discernment, certain ways of engaging the spiritual life that is helpful for us to take hold of this peace. And so wrong forms of prayer or pseudo prayers lead more to ourselves, leads just to focusing, it's kind of a navel gazing. It focuses on just many kind of mantras to kind of quiet the mind and heart, which are helpful and we could use insofar as prepares us to meet Jesus Christ. And so the point is, Christian prayer is about a person, it's about going out of oneself to meet the triune God of Father, Son, and Holy Spirit, and to encounter them in the depths of prayer. And that has a profound impact on our mind and heart. And so we have to fight to persevere for that kind of encounter of grace, as opposed to, you know, looking to a lot of the Eastern stuff, which belong to Hinduism or Buddhism or Zen, you know, other spiritual traditions that we respect and honor for them, But as Christians, we believe we have the fullness of the truth and the path that Christ has laid out. Well, I'm sorry, it's just how we believe is it's not a question of being better than them. It's just is the fullness of the truth and the fullness of grace that Christ has revealed to us, because he is God and he gives us the supreme wisdom. He gives us the complete light. He is the eternal light that we are searching for. And so, just some questions for reflection that Dan proposes about this unfailing path towards peace. How would you describe your spiritual formation? How well do you understand the truths of your Catholic faith? Have you read the Catechism cover to cover? Have you been drawn to any false remedies on your quest for peace and healing? If so, which ones? What has been the result? What have you experienced of the peace of Jesus Christ?